Which accusation do you believe jurors are actually hung up on? I mean, the fact that Melgen gifted Menendez with private jet flights, luxury hotel stays, $750,000 in campaign contributions in exchange for the federal government's help in his millions of dollars worth of Medicare dispute. Or are they confused about how these types of generous favors between friends of 20 years somehow poses a major conflict of interest?
Well, a major conflict of interest and a violation of the criminal law are two separate things. In this was a very difficult case for the prosecution. It was based on circumstantial evidence. In typical bribery cases, you have to prove it through direct evidence, and they really didn't have it. They just inferred it based upon these gifts. Julie, look at it this way. If you can imagine any politician from this point forward saying that anytime somebody gives you a contribution, a gift, a special interest group that later calls you for favors or access, that it's a crime, and here many of these gifts were given way before there was any official action. And that's a whole nother thing. Was there any official action taken? There were a lot of weak spots in this case. And this juror basically came out and said what many lawyers have said all along from the prosecution point of view. This is going to be a hung jury or a not guilty was basically the advice. Tough case for the feds here.
Well, any white-collar criminal defense lawyer is going to tell you that probably the most effective defense you can mount is everything you said I did, yes, I did it, but it's not a crime. So to my colleague Bob's point, you know, we had the case with Governor McDonnell in Virginia, and the U.S. Supreme Court fine-tuned it a little, saying not every meeting that you set up is a crime. So that's the way they defended it. They said, yep, I did the flights, I took the gifts, but it's not a crime.
Do you think it's possible the judge will instruct them instead to deliver a partial verdict if they can come to a unanimous decision on any of the counts, which was suggested, by the way, by the lead prosecutor, and something that the judge hasn't said he will discount?
Yeah, the court's got to be very careful here because there's a Supreme Court case, the Allen charge, basically, which is you have to be very, very careful that you are not forcing jurors into a verdict simply for the sake of a verdict. And what the judge basically says in the previous time he told them to go in, and maybe he'll do it one more time if he thinks they're close, is that you go back in to try to reach unanimous consensus so long as, and I quote, you're not doing violence to your judgment. Now, I will say, Julie, you picked up on something before that I find interesting. Jersey people are pretty resolute. They make decisions. I'm a Jersey guy. When I make a decision, I stick to it. So I am surprised that they went back in after saying they were deadlocked, and for 2 days we haven't heard anything from them. I expected them to come right back out. So they are in earnest, really trying to come to a unanimous verdict here.